Today we're going to be going over crab ride, ways to get into it, as well as ways to finish, different berimbolo tacks that we can use to continue chasing the back if they don't give us a good reaction for the crab ride. Let's get into it. The best place to start learning this back take is from a position where we have their knees smashed together. I'm starting to apply pressure with my shin on their leg, and I have this crab ride hook in. So one thing I just want to be thinking about is internally rotating her hip. Like if she's trying to turn into me here, I'm trying to keep her hip turned down. I'm trying to use this butterfly hook on her calf here to internally rotate her leg. I don't want it all flared out like this. Boom. I want to use my knee kind of on the side of her quad there to apply downward pressure. And then I use this hip grip in the front, start turning away from her so I can use this crab hook to start lifting her hip some. I'm going to look to get this arm deeper. And then I'm looking to drive my knee up towards her armpit here. And then I can go towards my shoulder. This is going to start wedging my knee underneath of her hip. And I use the wedge of my arm as well. When I extend this crab ride hook, it sits her in between my legs. I lever her up and over my knee here. So at first, her hips aren't in between my legs, and I just use my connections to her to sit her in between my legs. I sit up, get that top hook in, and take the back. So we've got here, I'm really trying to drive her knee to her chest, turn my knee in, be active with my crab hook. I'm rolling over my shoulder here, looking to drive my knee up towards her armpit. One thing that people do from here is everything just comes away from the body. And when they roll, their hips are too far away and you don't have any ability to lever them up here. So what we do to make that more likely for us to get a good wedge is by driving our knee up towards their shoulder and armpit here as I turn away, not letting my knee drift down here by her hip, driving it up here towards her armpit. Now I'm gonna have a good wedge to sit her in between my legs. I'm sitting up and chasing this far hook to take the back. Here's some of the entries that I use for getting into crab ride and starting my sequences. One position that we find this crab ride a lot from is when we clear our knee line from the leg entanglements. So I stuff her knees down. Now we see my knee starting to poke through here. I have the ability to start hunting for her hip and getting towards the crab ride. So I'm just gonna go for her hip, start turning my body, driving my knee up towards her armpit, trying to get my hook sticky on her calf, wedge her knee or her hip up over my knee, sit up, get my top hook in, take the back. Another place that this happens from is the Cross-Ashi here. If I can invert my knee, I open up some space, invert this knee down. You could go for your regular berimbolo here, but we can also throw in our crab ride hook, wedge on her hip. Now I just need to heist up to my knee, roll over my shoulder, wedge that knee, hip up over my knee, sit up and take the back. You know how to take the back with the crab ride and how to wedge their hip effectively. Let's talk about what to do when they start putting their back on the mat and making it hard for us to do the crab ride on the one side. It usually opens up the ability to go towards the other side. So when we're in here, especially when we have these double crab hook situations, we want to be thinking about building up to our shoulder on one side and our forehead and our knee to then re-roll on the other side. So I'm just getting up to my shoulder to really get her hips lifted here some so I can really make this top side crab hook strong. So I'm gonna make sure my hand is wedging in her hip good, and now I'm gonna turn my head in the other direction, and then the same thing we talked about earlier, I'm driving my knee up towards her armpit here and wedging her hip over my leg and my hand. And then my top hook comes in, sit up, take the back. Another angle here that we can start changing sides on when we don't really have it all the way here. So I'm building up towards my shoulder and my knee here so I can lift her hips up and then I'm going back over my other shoulder, driving my knee up high by her armpit here, wedging her hips up, getting my top hook in, and taking the back. This time, I start to come up to my side, but she has opened her knee up and I don't really have a good crab hook on this side. I'm just gonna bring my foot down towards this foot, extend my legs through, pull my foot out, then I can build up towards this leg drag. We're in here attacking this crab ride. She's making it difficult for me. I don't quite have what I want, so I'm gonna pummel both my feet to one leg, and I like to try and rock their hips up here, and then I extend everything through as I pull this leg out. Now I come up in this leg drag, really strong passing position. One thing that can happen here, say I rock towards my side, and then I get ready to go and try and wedge through on her back here, but she starts extending this leg. I'm just gonna let that happen as I bring my knee behind her knee, and I try and wedge my knee here. Comes up high into her hip here. I try to get my knee vertical. I wanna clamp as tight as I can to her while I do this, so this starts to lift her hip. I start to get some low back exposure, and now I'm just keeping this foot on the floor here as I extend this leg through, getting her knee towards the mat here. This is gonna make it the easiest for me to get my twister hook in. Boom, now I can shrimp my hips away and get towards the back. I'm trying to take the back as much as I can with the crab ride, and as she extends her leg, my knee comes through towards the pocket of her hip here. This knee catches behind her knee, and then I'm just putting my foot on the ground and pointing my knees towards the ceiling to wedge her hip up onto my hips. Now I can get her knee down towards the mat here. The higher her knee is up here, the harder it is to get this twister hook in effectively. So I'm using this leg to get her knee down towards the mat so that I can push to get the twister hook in, turn, shrimp my hips away, and now we can secure the back.